You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie, and I'm proud of the life I have, surrounded by military and aware just how big the world really is. I have a unique perspective on life and the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View. Alright, it's Jessie! How's everybody doing out there today? Yes, I miss you when we're not talking. Alright, there's only one topic that I could possibly put on the air tonight. And it's the one everybody, and I mean everybody, is gonna be talking about. Yep, everybody. And that is, we are out of the Iran nuclear deal. Yes, we are out of the deal that prevents Iran from making nuclear weapons. Now, there has been a lot of debate about this. There has been a lot of squabble, a lot of going back and forth, and let's just say this wasn't unexpected. Not by any stretch of any imagination. This was something that everybody pretty much saw coming. It's been being talked about for weeks that we were probably going to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal. There have been all kinds of stories about who's going to do what and how this is going to impact things around the world. And I believe it has already had some consequences. And we will be discussing that in the upcoming episode. There's so many things with this, you can't break it down to just one impact. And there's so many factors you have to take into consideration. It is literally not funny. It can't actually be covered in a full hour. So I am working on trying to break it down. Yes, I have read the entire Iran nuclear deal, at least the parts that are permitted to the public. Remember, I have said on multiple occasions, that there are side deals that are hidden from public view. And there are so many other things we don't know about this deal. And that's part of why I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I have repeatedly said this thing is not worth the paper it's printed on. So, for all of you who are going to say, oh, you're just jumping on the no nuke deal bandwagon, I have been saying this deal is bubkiss for over a year. For over 2, I think. Check my episodes. I promise you. I am not a Johnny-come-lately on this. And if you hear my printer in the background, I apologize, but I did not get a chance to finish printing all my show prep before I jumped on air. I had to work on audio clips and organizing things and so many other things so I could bring you the best episode possible. Now, Israel and Saudi Arabia. You're looking at me, we're talking Iran. Hang on, bear with. Israel and Saudi Arabia. Yes, Israel and Saudi Arabia are thrilled. They hated the Iran nuclear deal. In fact, I have mentioned in previous episodes how when the Iran nuclear deal was originally struck, that Israel was screaming from the rooftops while Saudi Arabia was protesting quietly but vehemently behind the scenes. So it's no surprise that, at least not to me, that they are happy with these results. Because I guarantee you this is not going to be the end of this topic, and that what happened here today, will impact our negotiations for a denuclearized North Korea. Yes, that is exactly what I just said. This will have an immediate impact on our talks to denuclearize the North Korean peninsula, or the Korean peninsula as a whole. And I know this is one of those, what do you mean it's going to have an impact? If you haven't been following, I'm sorry. But this is going to have a major impact. Because, remember, North Korea claims they need nuclear weapons to prevent what happened to Gaddafi. Oh yeah, he gave up his weapons. He was gone. And Kim Jong-un does not want the same thing to happen to him. No surprise. I don't think anybody does. However, if you don't think North Korea is watching everything we do, everything we say to every other country that we are having a nuclear conversation with, and even in some cases non-nuclear conversations, you are crazy. And I know this is a hard thing to deal with. However, those are the facts. I am not sorry to see us out of the Iran nuclear deal. And you're going to look at me and go, but, whoa, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right. In fact, here's what Ambassador Nikki Haley had to say on this topic.
As President Trump announced on October 13th, the United States is taking a new approach to Iran by focusing on all of the regime's destabilizing behavior. That means we are not just focused on the nuclear program. We're also taking a hard look at Iran's ballistic missile program, its arms exports, and its support for terrorists, proxy fighters, and dictators. Our new strategy was prompted by the undeniable fact that the Iranian regime's behavior is growing worse. The nuclear deal has done nothing to moderate the regime's conduct in other areas.
This deal was put into place in hopes that by allowing Iran a clear pathway back onto the world stage and back into the community and trading and things like that, lifting the sanctions, that maybe they would actually stop being a bad actor on the world stage. It didn't happen. It didn't happen by a long shot. Let's listen to Nikki Haley one more time. At least one more time tonight.
Aid from Iran's Revolutionary Guard to dangerous militias and terror groups is increasing. Its ballistic missiles and advanced weapons are turning up in war zones across the region. It's hard to find a conflict or a terrorist group in the Middle East that does not have Iran's fingerprints all over it.
Yes, Iran supports terror groups. They are, in fact, the largest state sponsor of terror. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but they are. In fact, there are claims that Iran never stopped their nuclear program. They just took it further underground. Those claims have been made most recently by Israel. Let's take a little bit of a listen.
Iran was faced with mounting pressure in 2003. You remember that. That was following the Gulf War. So it was forced to shelve Project Ahmad. But it didn't shelve its nuclear ambitions. So Iran devised a plan to do two things. First, to preserve the nuclear know-how from Project Ahmad. And second, to further develop its nuclear weapons-related capabilities. That plan came directly from Iran's top leadership. Here's another document from the archive. This is following the new directive of Iran's Minister of Defense, Mr. Shamkhani. Today is the director of the National Security Council. Following the new directive of Iran's Minister of Defense, the work would be split into two parts, covert and overt.
Now, I want to draw your attention to the fact that the IAEA is not allowed to inspect military sites in Iran. Where would you hide nuclear weapons? A military site. All right, let's take a listen to one more statement from Netanyahu.
A key part of the plan was to form new organizations to continue the work. This is how Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, head of Project Ahmad, put it. Remember that name, Fakhrizadeh. So here's his directive. It's right here. And he says, the general aim is to announce the closure of Project Ahmad, but then he adds, special activities, you know what that is, special activities will be carried out under the title of scientific know-how development.
In other words, special activities is another way of saying covert operations. Trust me, our own CIA has a special activities division. They do things where you can't have fingerprints, you can't leave a trail. Now, one more clip from Netanyahu.
The representative of the Israeli regime,
I apologize, this must be from the UN Security Council,
made unfounded allegations against Iran. He tried to deceive the whole world by distracting public opinion from the horrific policies and practices of his own regime.
This is Iran saying that Israel is trying to distract the world, that they are in fact the problem, not Iran. I'm not sure who the real problem is. All I can tell you is something's got to change. Now, based on that, here is what President Trump had to say about Iran and the nuclear deal today.
My fellow Americans, today I want to update the world on our efforts to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. The Iranian regime is the leading state sponsor of terror. It exports dangerous missiles, fuels conflicts across the Middle East, and supports terrorist proxies and militias such as Hezbollah, Hamas, the Taliban, and Al-Qaeda. Over the years, Iran and its proxies have bombed American embassies and military installations, murdered hundreds of American service members, and kidnapped, imprisoned, and tortured American citizens.
Now, those are some pretty bold claims. Let's break them down a few at a time. Because there's a lot in those couple of statements. I have told you before, Hamas and Hezbollah, they fund. They also have gotten themselves in the middle of the Syrian civil war. They prop up Bashar al-Assad. They do many other things that definitely make many people around the world uneasy. Now, I have said many times, that when President Obama paid the ransom, and yes, I will call it a ransom, for those 4 American lives to get out of Iran, that part of that money went to North Korea. Why? Because of the nuclear deal. Iran could not keep working on things themselves. Now, we have all watched the North Korea nuclear deal, nuclear program, progress to the point where Kim Jong-un, I believe, is prepared to sell it. And you look at me and go, wait a minute, what does this have to do with anything? Bear with me just one moment, and I will make my case. In fact, how about this for making the case?
10 years ago, the North Koreans transferred a plutonium production reactor to Syria. It was crushed by the Israelis. If it had not been crushed, that reactor could be providing plutonium not only to Syrians, but to others who have traipsed through Syria, and these are pretty unsavory folks. And that's an image that goes to nuclear terrorism we don't like to contemplate. So we need to somehow impress upon the North Koreans that's not a move we want to see again.
North Korea sold a nuclear reactor to Syria. Israel crushed it before it became a nuclear reactor, when it was essentially just a building. Currently, it is believed that Syria is building an underground nuclear reactor with the help of Iran and North Korea. Yes. It is no surprise that the Syrian government, none other than Bashar al-Assad, has denounced the fact that we have withdrawn from the nuclear deal. It is no surprise that Israel went on high alert with their military when we pulled out of the deal. Now, it is also no surprise that Iran is now going to try to negotiate with the Europeans, Russia, and China. Remember, this was a multilateral conversation. This was not just a deal with the United States. This was a deal with a group of nations. It was a multinational document. It is no surprise that Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said that his government remains committed to a nuclear deal with the world powers, despite the U.S. decision to withdraw. However, they're going to be more than happy to resume uranium enrichment if the accord no longer offers benefits. They already have what they want. The lifting of sanctions, the money. They got so many things right up front before anything was verified. Yes. Now, Rouhani has already warned us that Iran would begin enriching uranium beyond the levels allowed in the nuclear deal. If the government decides the country's needs are not being met, they're going to decide in quote-unquote a few weeks. Yes, a few weeks. Whether to ramp up enrichment. That was a warning. Basically, if they can get what they want from the nuclear deal, they'll stick with it. If not, goodbye. Nice knowing you. Thanks for lifting the sanctions. We can now trade with whoever we want. Except the United States. Oh well, we don't need U.S. products. This is all while the Iranian people are oppressed. While the Iranian people march in the streets. Yes. Exactly. And don't take my word for it. Let's hear what Nikki Haley had to say about Iran earlier this year.
All these brigades have come out to the streets. They've come out against the leader. Political prisoners must be freed. Independence, freedom, Iranian Republic. Neither Gaza nor Lebanon, my life only for Iran. Let go of Syria. Think of us. We will die, but we'll take Iran back. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. We're all together. And in reference to the Supreme Leader, quote, feel some shame. Let go of the country. Those are not my words. Those are not the words of the United States. Those are the words of the brave people of Iran.
This was earlier when the Iranian protests were in full swing. Now, while these protests are no longer making news, and even I don't cover them regularly, there are still small ones that happen. However, people don't want to land in Evin Prison. The notorious Evin Prison in Iran was built to hold political prisoners. It is a place well known for many horrors, not the least of which is torture. They will force you to confess. Often, there are summary executions. Yes. The Iranian economy did not bounce back the way Rouhani said it would. The Iranian economy is still struggling. And yet, this government puts its money, much like North Korea does, into developing weapons instead of taking care of their people. In the case of Iran, to funding terrorist groups. This is not speculation. This is well-known fact. Now, I know I have blown past the commercial break. However, we are going to take a brief commercial break, and I will see you on the other side.
You're out here acting so tough, and now I'm calling your bluff. Black hoods and no faces. We'll take it out to the streets. That's where we can meet. You bring your sticks, I'll bring gauges. Just don't know what you've been asking for. This means war.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Thank you for hanging in there with me while we paid those radio station bills. Now, we are talking the Iran nuclear deal and what happens next? Yes, that is what we are discussing. That's what everybody is discussing. Let's face it, there were some major announcements on this front today. Now, we had just done a couple of President Trump's clips. Let's listen to a couple more.
No action taken by the regime has been more dangerous than its pursuit of nuclear weapons and the means of delivering them.
I'm going to say, if they've got the warhead, which we don't know if they do or not, if they do, between what North Korea has done and what Iran has done, that they will be able to go nuclear with an intercontinental ballistic missile immediately. You're looking at me like, wait a minute. They'll buy the Hwasong 15 from North Korea, slap a new paint job on it, slap a different flag on it, and use it. Yes, they will. Now, I was spending the time on commercial break, which is why I let the ads run just a wee bit longer, to determine if we have a defensive treaty with Israel. And you want to know why I am looking at that? Well, I will explain. We are duty bound to defend South Korea. We are duty bound to defend any member of NATO if they activate Article 5, which says an attack on one is an attack on all. We have an agreement between the United States, Australia, and New Zealand. We have a bilateral treaty with the Philippines. I don't see a formal treaty. However, there are formal agreements with Israel that we will help them defend them. And the United States government would view the particular gravity direct threats to Israel's security arising from regional deployment of ballistic missiles of intermediate range or greater. In the event of such a threat, the United States government would consult promptly with the government of Israel with respect to what support, diplomatic or otherwise, or assistance it can lend to Israel. Yes, and we have a joint strategic planning committee with Israel. Is that news? Is that surprising? No, it's not, and it shouldn't be. This is something that, while it is what it is, there's only so far you can push it. Trust me, there are times presidents have tried to look away from it. there are times presidents have slammed Israel. However, the Memorandum of Agreement on Security Cooperation was signed October 31st, 1998. So please, don't blame anyone who's currently in the White House. 1998 was a long time ago. It predated 9/11. Now, we've also signed a Memorandum of Cooperation relating to technical assistance in developing and modernizing Israel's civil aviation security infrastructure. Yes, that was in November 24th, 2010. So, there have been no agreements that I can locate since 2010 that relate to security and defense. However, we may be bound to defend Israel. Why am I saying this? There are many people who are sitting here wondering if Iran will attack Israel or vice versa. Israel has prepared for an Iranian attack with bomb shelters, while President Trump was standing at the podium. Some Israelis were hunkered down in bomb shelters. Now, it would be no surprise that Israel will strike back. It would be no surprise. In fact, there were airstrikes on Syria today that have been attributed, although they have not taken credit for, to Israel. All right. President Trump made a couple more points, and I do want to try and get to them.
In theory, the so-called Iran deal was supposed to protect the United States and our allies from the lunacy of an Iranian nuclear bomb, a weapon that will only endanger the survival of the Iranian regime. In fact, the deal allowed Iran to continue enriching uranium and, over time, reach the brink of a nuclear breakout. The deal lifted crippling economic sanctions on Iran in exchange for very weak limits on the regime's nuclear activity and no limits at all on its other malign behavior, including its sinister activities in Syria, Yemen, and other places all around the world.
This deal was struck with only the nuclear program in mind. There was no thought to the rest of Iran's malicious behavior. In your host's opinion, this is a hole you can drive a tractor trailer, or in this case a Humvee, straight through.
The agreement was so poorly negotiated that even if Iran fully complies, the regime can still be on the verge of a nuclear breakout in just a short period of time. The deal's sunset provisions are totally unacceptable. If I allowed this deal to stand, there would soon be a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. Everyone would want their weapons ready by the time Iran had theirs. Making matters worse, the deal's inspection provisions lack adequate mechanisms to prevent, detect, and punish cheating, and don't even have the unqualified right to inspect many important locations including military facilities.
If you are going to build a bomb, are you going to build it in a civilian facility or a military one? Of course, you will build it in a military facility. You will deem its construction too important to be unguarded. Why we can't inspect the most likely place to plant a bomb is another reason this deal is a failure.
Over the past few months, we have engaged extensively with our allies and partners around the world, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. We have also consulted with our friends from across the Middle East. We are unified in our understanding of the threat and in our conviction that Iran must never acquire a nuclear weapon. After these consultations, it is clear to me that we cannot prevent an Iranian nuclear bomb under the decaying and rotten structure of the current agreement. The Iran deal is defective at its core. If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. In just a short period of time, the world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons.
Now, this is going to affect many other things. This isn't just going to affect the Defense Department. This could affect Iranian banking. This could affect U.S. companies that have contracts with Iran. If the sanctions are re-implemented, those companies will have to walk away from those contracts. There is a lot at stake. Conditions within the Iranian banking system have deteriorated, and they are still in a tumultuous time. And political uncertainty helps none of it. Then you add the fact that they have put themselves in the position of having other countries come in and help them. Russia has sold numerous weapon systems to Iran. Russia has helped nothing in this aspect. The United Kingdom, France, and Germany are also signatories to the Iran deal. They had all urged Trump to stay in some way. French President Macron, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson all focused on a way to keep Trump on board. This is not something they will like. However, they have expressed statements of regret, concern, show restraint, and many other things. Other people say this is a self-inflicted wound. We don't know what the final fallout will be. I do not want to see our country held hostage to nuclear blackmail. I do not want to see American cities threatened with destruction. By the way, this regime that claims it means us no harm has regular chance of death to America and death to Israel in their mosques, in their streets, usually on the Islam's holy day of Friday evening prayers. That is the one, if you are going to attend one service a week, that is when you go. Now, Rouhani sent mixed signals because nobody quite knows what they're going to do yet. Everybody is going to be walking around on eggshells. You're going to see a lot of little things pop up, and it's going to take a lot to decipher them and connect the dots. I'd like to leave you with a few following facts to keep in mind. Iran is in Yemen and Syria. They are building missile factories in both locations. Iran is influencing Iraq. Iran is extending its power and its reach in ways we never could have predicted. As a final thought on nuclear weapons, here is a quote from Admiral Harris.
While I don't know if those missiles can actually hit what they're aimed at, but like horseshoes and hand grenades, getting close is all that's needed when you're dealing with nuclear weapons.
Yes, I realize I still have a few moments left. I wanted to turn my attention solely to Israel for just a few moments. For those of you who are new to the show, I am Jewish. I have made no secret of it. I proudly announce it on multiple occasions, frequently when covering stories that involve Israel. There have been many developments with Israel in the past few years. Let's start with today. Syria blames Israel for airstrikes near Damascus. This is not the first time Israel has reportedly launched airstrikes on Syria. In fact, just yesterday, I explained to you that if Russia sells their air defense system to Syria and Syrians use it against Israel, Israel has said they will bomb it. Back to the Stone Age. Israel does not want civilian casualties any more than the United States. However, Iran has bases in Syria. Iran has violated Israeli airspace and launched attacks on Israel from the sovereign country of Syria. Iran uses Syria as a forward operating base. This is not to say that Israel is without fault. On any day, you can read about what's going on with Gaza and the West Bank. However, you must keep in mind that these are areas controlled by the Palestinian Liberation Organization and Hamas, who are in many ways terrorists in suits. Thank you for joining me tonight on Jesse's POV. And I want to remind all of you, if you didn't manage to catch the show live, you can find it on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, just to name a few. And you can always follow me on Twitter at Radio Host Jesse. And you can email me at the station at jessiespov@klrnradio.com. I'm gone.